Thank you, Madam Toastmaster of the day. Greetings, fellow Toastmasters. Change is inevitable, and it feels like change is always right around the corner. For instance, a few years ago, I was in front of our Toastmasters Club delivering a speech about embracing the next step. And in that speech, I discussed a change in my life that involved moving to a new area and moving in with my girlfriend for the first time. And now again today, I stand before the club to discuss another change in my life that has to do with moving. In July, my girlfriend and I will once again be moving to a new home. This time, we are moving to more space. We're moving so that we can get more space so that her mother can move in with us. It will be nice. It's going to be nice to be able to reunite my girlfriend with her mother, who currently resides in Chicago, Illinois. However, this moving experience feels like it's going to be a lot more difficult than some of the other ones that we've had in the past. We need to consolidate not one, but two homes into one, with her mom living in Chicago currently, while also navigating the issues that COVID-19 unfortunately presents. And once the move is ultimately done, we're still going to have to get used to the new multi-generational home that we're all going to be living in. So thinking through this move and communicating with everybody that's going to be involved is going to be a huge key to success. Now, there are two main objectives for this upcoming move. The first one is to execute on a well-thought-out plan so that our moving experience is seamless. The second one is to set a strong foundation from which our new multi-generational household can succeed. Now, I'm trying not to bore you by going over the full details of the plan, but instead I'll focus on some ways in which we are hoping to achieve the two objectives that we set forth. To achieve objective one, we must fully explore our current circumstances. We also have to use our past mistakes to guide us forward, and we have to be as prepared as possible for things to not go as planned, because that's ultimately how things usually turn out. Beyond my girlfriend and I moving everything in our current home over to the new one, we also have to move her mother's stuff all the way from Illinois back to Maryland. Now, her mom has a lot of stuff, including a vehicle, so flying back is not going to be an option. So our plan currently is to fly down to Illinois, or fly over to Illinois, help her mom pack up all of her stuff, and then drive it all the way back to Maryland. So by planning ahead, we're able to estimate the time and resources that's going to need that haul to drive. We're going to have to spend a lot of money on gas. Luckily, we have travel vouchers because our vacation was canceled, so we can fly to Illinois for free, basically. We're also working on factoring in our past moving experiences into our current plan. An example of this is starting the lease at our new home at least 2 weeks before the lease that we're currently in ends. Creating this buffer zone, we like to call it, will allow us to move at a slower pace when we move. It'll also limit our need to rely on heavily used moving trucks, moving items such as dollies, and it'll also limit our need to rely on other people to help us move as well. Now, in our last move, the apartment complex that we were moving to wanted to shift our moving date back 2 days because new carpet had yet to be installed. This created stress because the lease that we were in ended the same day that the new lease we were going to enter into began. So we had nowhere to go. So we quickly learned that trying to move out of multiple locations and then move all of that stuff into a new location all in the same day is a recipe for disaster, from which we both experience and learn from. So that's something we definitely don't want to recreate in this new move. Our plan is also being developed with the notion that things will go wrong. In my experience, nothing is as true as the phrase, if it can go wrong, it will. But beyond building in more time into our plan, this can only be prepared for with a change of our mindset. We have to remind ourselves that although our plan is set, it's not set in stone, and it still has to be flexible. Previously, if we planned something and it didn't go the way that we planned, it would leave us in a funk. Like we would be out of whack. We would be out of sorts. But we want to keep that negativity out of our moves. So we're preparing ourselves mentally for everything to just go haywire and for us to have to deal with that. To achieve objective number 2, the key is not to over-plan, but instead to over-understand. So moving a parent into your home is difficult. This is my first try, but I can imagine how difficult it will be. Parents are usually stuck in their ways, and changing the way in which they live at an advanced age is a shock to them. But we have to be understanding of that shock and do what we can to make that transition easier for everybody that's involved. So for me, that comes down to remembering and understanding why we're making the move in the first place. It is to reunite my girlfriend and her mom and to bring our families closer. So the move is not about me, I'm in it, but it's ultimately to bring together and grow the family that I'm a part of. So communication is a huge part of developing understanding for the situation as well. We have Facebook portals, and we have used those devices to have meetings between all of us to discuss the move, expectations, the two goals that we've set, and many other things. And these engagements have been really helpful in terms of jointly developing the plan that I'm sharing with you all today. Involving everyone who is affected by the move in the plan increases the buy-in of the plan. And if we're all invested and behind the plan for moving, then executing on that plan will be that much easier. Involving everyone also helps us get off on the right foot, helps us build a strong relationship. Everyone feels empowered about making decisions which affect their household, and that's ultimately the kind of household that we're looking to foster. So out of all the elements of the plan that I've hinted at today, communication is the most important. No matter what happens, as long as we can talk it out, things will ultimately work out. So fellow Toastmasters and guests, although change is hard, planning for change makes it a lot easier. And our hope is that through planning, communicating, and understanding, we will have a moving experience that's unlike the last and that does not cause undue stress and turmoil. Instead, we are hoping to turn an experience that has in the past been a painful process into something that can be more positive. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Toastmasters and guests, and thank you, Nico, for your speech on change. And also congratulations for speeding ahead of me in the Pathways curriculum, because now you are one speech ahead. Your topic today was to address change, and you picked a very close to home, practical, something that's happening now event. And we got a chance to peer into your mind about how you handle change. I liked that you had a very practical plan for planning for change, but you also understood that change will happen and we can't always plan for it. So you had contingency plans. Your second step was also to over understand, which was a really interesting term, and to have a lot of communication with your girlfriend and her mother in this big move. Moving can be one of the most stressful things for anyone, and to move under COVID-19, to move across states, to move a family member that's not related to you into your home is a big undertaking. So I commend you, and I commend you for opening your heart to this person. And that was good. That was good for your personal and also for the speech. It was very well laid out. The advice that I would give for you, and especially in this virtual environment, is to pay close attention to your body movements. There were times that you stepped away and you came close, but I didn't connect that movement with the words in the speech. So be more mindful of that. You did move side to side, but again, be mindful of when you are moving and what the words you're using at the time, so that maybe we get a sense of Chicago is far away and now we are moving closer, as an example. And also, if you would lift your camera up to your eye level so that you're not looking down into the camera, that would also improve it would also improve our being with you instead of noticing that we are far away. But all in all, good speech, very well laid out. And I think if we are going to move, we can also take those practical tips that you gave into our own, which is being prepared for the big things, the little things, and giving ourselves grace during a very stressful time. So thank you, Nico.